Welcome back to the Give and Go. I'm not even going to do an intro, Fro. The floor is yours.
So you're happy. That's the happiest I've ever seen you do an intro.
Of course I'm happy. Of course I'm happy, man. I'll get into that later. For now, we need to hear from you first.
Well, this is going to be the shortest episode in Give and Go history because there's nothing to say. I'm going to be a sponge for this episode. Let's see what's going on here because Soltero, we cry together, says Alex Escobar. Soltero, what was that about not losing Diego Garcia? And I mean it by I'm going to be a sponge this episode. I'm here to receive every single type of comment. You can say USA is the worst team at this Copa America and I will entertain it. You can say that the USA is getting grouped. I will entertain it. It really doesn't matter what you have to say. I will read it. I will listen to it because the reality is the USA lost today against Panama. Now there is a must-win match against Uruguay, and what happened over the 90 minutes that can be analyzed. It can be talked about. You could listen to pundit after pundit try and make sense of the match, but it doesn't change what the reality is, and that reality is the USA need to win against Uruguay. That's it. So go ahead, say whatever you want to say. I'm here for it.
What's the reaction? I need the reaction. I need the reaction, man. You got to give the reaction. You're giving it for every other game. You have to be held accountable. I need the reaction. You can't get away with it that easy.
Well, that's the funny part is I'll actually be disappointed if you think there should be a reaction because down a man for 80 minutes, if you include stoppage time, how is that an analytical game? How do you really make sense of that match? And I'm not even saying that's an excuse. This is the worst decision from Timothy Weah to get a red card in this must-win game. There's no excuse here.
Nope.
This is the worst decision I've seen in U.S. history, bro. Considering you're hosting the Copa America and you do a rash push in the head. The head's a no zone, bro. You can't attack that area. And Weah did it as if he wasn't even going to get carded. Of course you're going to get a red card, bro. And the thing is, of course we're not going to get a result in this match because you're down a man for 80 minutes. There's nothing to really analyze here. USA fucked themselves, and more specifically, Weah screwed over his entire team.
Weah screwed over the entire team. He posted an apology letter on his Instagram story. Does that matter?
It does. Okay. No, it does because it is because of him that we are in this situation. If it's 11v11, and I think that people would agree, the USA win this.
Yeah.
And there's no debate about that. It took so much for Panama to fight in this game. This wasn't even a football match, but again, there's no excuses. The USA only have 3 points after 2 matches. But if you're looking for an analytical type of view from this game, you cannot get one. And don't believe any other thing that any other pundit is saying because 11v10 for 80 minutes, how can you analyze that match?
Well, you can analyze the lack of discipline from the USA. This is a bad decision by Timothy Weah, and I think that says a lot.
I already said that.
Yeah, no, but that's what you have to analyze out of this game.
And I already said that, so what's after that?
Is the fact that this has happened twice now with Des doing the same thing not even 6 months ago. This is a recurring theme. This does not happen under Scaloni. This does not happen under Deschamps. This does not happen under an elite coach. And I'm not putting this on Berhalter. I'm not going to do that because Timothy Weah is the culprit for what happened today and the lack of emotion there. But there has to be something to be said about leadership, whoever that is. If it is Berhalter, then fine. But the fact that this keeps happening and players then go on to apologize for it afterwards, that's so immature, bro. It's a lack of experience, and it shows on the biggest stage, and I think that has to be criticized. I think that's the analysis to take away is that the USA is not as disciplined as we thought they would be, and that lack of discipline is going to come and hurt them in really important matches like what we saw today. This is the Copa America, man. It's basically now in the books for the USA because they got to get a result against Uruguay, who just trashed Bolivia 5-0. I don't think they can get away with it that easy, man. This is a bad sign. And now all you can do really is hope for a miracle against Uruguay. And if anything, hope he can learn from this going into 2026.
Absolutely. And that's the sad part is that ultimately the only thing you can say is that this is not an analysis of what happened on the pitch. This is an analysis of the mentality of the U.S. men's national team. I agree with that, man. And that's why I'm upset, because you know what I would have loved to do at the end of this match? I would have loved to analyze what happened on the pitch. But I can't do that because of what Timothy Weah did. That's why this is not an excuse. I know people saying this sounds like an excuse. It's not. I am criticizing what should be criticized. This is a loss of mentality. This is a loss of head, a rush of blood to the head, whatever you want to call it. This should not happen at a major tournament. And honestly, maybe this is Berhalter's fault, because how can you trust your players if they're doing this in a must-win match? This is so poor. This is worse than what Mexico did, because what Mexico did yesterday was on the pitch.
I mean, we knew.
You can analyze that.
Football,
you can analyze what happened 11v11, but when you're down for 80 minutes due to a rash decision, I can't analyze the football, and it's frustrating because that's what I want to do. Yeah, but I wasn't given that opportunity because of Timothy Weah's decision.
Yeah, I think a big part is on Berhalter, because you think about what we've seen now. What people say so much about Berhalter, the biggest strength to him is that he's like a player's coach. The players love him. He's like a vibe type of guy.
Right.
It feels like Dest and Weah act out, throw these tantrums knowing that there's no consequence, because if they're under a much more stern and strict coach, a player doesn't do that, bro.
I agree.
And I think that's the weakness of Berhalter. It's not even so much his tactics. It's the fact that players feel comfortable punching a guy on the field, essentially, at the end of the day, punching the Panamanian player, just hitting him really hard.
Stupid.
So rash, doing a stupid decision. I think that falls on Timothy Weah and his attitude, but then also on the coach, bro, because how do you get to that point, bro? That's the most frustrating part for me, because I actually bought into this USA narrative. I did, with the potential that people sold to me. USA fans, you and many Americans as well, all sold me on the potential of this American team, which I agree with because of the players, the teams that they play for in Europe, what they could eventually become. I got sold on it, and if anything, you can look back on it, I wasn't that critical of the USA in the past 2 years outside of Berhalter, because I praised them for defeating Mexico and becoming kings of CONCACAF, and I sat here through so many rants, bro. I sat here through so much, taking it in, but trying to learn from it as well. And so I'm frustrated, bro, because I actually bought into this USA narrative, and I thought that they could maybe show up on a big stage like this when it was asked of them, when the pressure was on them. But a decision as rash as what we saw from Timothy Weah today, I think, represents the lack of experience on the big stage, because championship contenders do not do this.
Exactly.
They just don't, bro. And it reminds me of what we saw from Julian Quiñones yesterday. Rash decision causing a penalty. It's what the weaker teams in this tournament do. And it's so sad that the USA and Mexico are the two teams doing that, bro. Canada and Jamaica have shown more discipline in this tournament than the top two teams in CONCACAF. And the USA specifically, for what we thought they would achieve, this is one of the most disappointing things I've seen. I'm frustrated, but then I'm also I don't know. I'm a little mad, bro, because this is such a tough situation now to get points against the Uruguay squad, who's playing so well.
Oh, I'm disgusted. But I've already explained why. But I mean, and that's why I said this is going to be a short episode, because what really is there more to talk about other than Weah's stupid decision that could translate into Berhalter's poor coaching? I mean, this is something I didn't see coming because of what the USA could have achieved at this Copa America. But instead of growing the sport, instead of proving to everybody that the USA could actually match the best of CONMEBOL, instead we get a red card within 15 minutes and lose against Panama. This is unacceptable. But here's the thing. We'll have 11v11 against Uruguay. It's the only time to redeem ourselves, right? If you're looking about redemption, if you're looking at what is the next step, I had USA being able to beat Uruguay. If that doesn't change, which it doesn't in my mind, then we have to beat Uruguay. We have to.
I wonder if they play a B team. They're through.
Uruguay's through. That's true. That's true. We've seen it. Spain's played a B team more recently. It's happened in the Euros as well. But either way, though, it just doesn't change the fact that, I mean, what a horrible decision from Timothy Weah. Truly, though, like if you really think about it.
Oh, 100%, bro.
It's so bad.
That's what defines this game. Scroll up for me, producer Ron. I want to acknowledge some of these comments. One right there. George says to me, lack of experience. What? McKinney has played UCL campaigns for years. What are you on about? Pulisic, UCL winner, World Cup winners. The only guy that I can truly say has experience on big stages for me is Pulisic. That's the only one. I think the rest, when it comes to international ball, I think are yet to be proven, especially in these big stages. I need to see more from them. I was hoping to get that in the quarterfinals and semifinals of the Copa America if they made it that deep. I'll only say that Pulisic is the only experienced player for the USA squad when it comes to big stages. McKinney perhaps, but I'm not going to go on this narrative here that you're trying to project where the USA is so experienced, because I think that's one of their, not weak points, but that's what sold so many people on this team, was that they're so young. It's one of the reasons why they're so exciting, is the potential they have. They haven't played in these big stages yet, but hopefully one day they would. So I think that's why I say that they have a lack of experience, and it showed today with the decision making from Timothy Weah.
Yeah, and if you look at Weah specifically, I mean, he just got to Juventus, and Juventus are actually in a dark period right now. So if you think about top football, they just won their first piece of silver in the Copa Italia, and that was big for this Juve squad specifically. So Weah is probably the least experienced out of those top three. So, I mean, but even then, I don't even want to go there. This does not justify the decision from Weah to do what he did in the 18th minute. It just doesn't justify. I don't care if you're playing in the second or third division of Cyprus, man. You shouldn't just lash out and hit a player in the head, man. It doesn't matter the occasion, bro. It really doesn't. So he screwed the USA from the get-go, and that's why we lost this game. There's nothing else to analyze.
The ego and absolute entitlement that those USA players show is crazy. These guys get to the top of CONCACAF and think they are on top of the world, and it feels like the whole team has the same attitude. Says Chris Vergara. Vickers is trash, gets danced on and almost a penalty. Alejandro Sendejas could have done better than Weah. Juventus is a top tier team either way. Uruguay is a scary team. Let's talk about Panama.
Anthony Guerrero says, you're a bitch, Soltero. I wanted a fair analysis, stop being butthurt and give Panama its props. But if you're down a man for 80 minutes, how is that a fair game of football? And I don't even mean fair in terms of red card, yellow card, or anything like that. If you are down a man, how is that an even match? Let's just say this is even the USA, right? If this is Uruguay-Bolivia, and Uruguay or Bolivia are down a man and Uruguay end up scoring 10 goals, and you say, oh, well, this would have happened anyway, but you could go the other way and say this isn't fair for Bolivia for being down a man for 80 minutes. So I just think anytime it's not 11v11, regardless of the circumstances, it's not a, let's say, quote unquote, fair game of football. Now, it's fair in the sense that the red was supposed to be shown. Timothy Weah definitely deserved to be taken off, and it is his fault that the USA lose this match. But how do you correctly analyze a game of 11v10?
I think you just got to analyze what happened, man, because Balogun went up. He actually scored a banger to put the USA up 1-0 in this match. And for a while, I thought maybe the USA pulls out a draw here, or maybe even pulls out a victory here if they park the bus. But Panama, I think there's a lot left to be analyzed there, because given the circumstances, they took advantage of it. And that's something that teams like Bolivia don't do. That's something that teams like Paraguay maybe don't do. But Bolivia did, going into the final minute, 83rd minute, scoring a game winner off of a beautiful play with Fajardo finishing the shot off, and themselves fulfilling their narrative. Because I mentioned it last time when we were previewing this match. What if Panama even just gets a draw here? Now they're set up for a really good situation going into facing Bolivia in that last match. Panama gets an incredible result here, winning 2-1. I think that's where the analysis needs to go, as to how Panama approached this game after USA went down a man.
Absolutely. I mean, and the thing is, to be fair, I said the same thing about Ecuador when they played Venezuela. When Ecuador lost a man, because they were down a man basically at the exact same time, they also lost that game against Venezuela, and I had the exact same take. It was just less passionate because I didn't care, but I had the exact same conclusion, by the way. Ecuador lost against Venezuela, but I had nothing to say because they were down a man for over 80 minutes. I will always say that regardless of the teams involved, I want to keep that narrative going. I said the same thing about Venezuela. Props to Venezuela for going at Ecuador in that game, and I'll say the same thing here. Props to Panama for not giving up and giving everything that they could to everything that they could to the USA, knowing that getting a win here would give them 3 massive points. And now they get to play against Bolivia, the weakest team probably at this tournament. Panama looking incredible to get 6 points in this group.
Panama looking incredible, bro. I can't believe it. Like, what a result for them. That red card was a gift from the heavens, but it was justifiably so. And it's just amazing to see Panama actually step up to the occasion. That's my biggest thing, because they went down 1-0 as well. And I was like, fuck, dude, you're going to go down 1-0 being up a man. This is bad. But they responded right away with Blackman scoring a game-tying goal, and then Fajardo getting the lead. Scenes for Panama, man. I think I saw one of the players crying as he celebrated, because to them this was a massive result. Huge. And damn, did this game get physical at the end. Holy shit. The slides that I saw, the physicality was ridiculous, with Carrasquilla, of all players, getting a red card as well in this match, and Pulisic getting hit really badly on that play. Carrasquilla goes out, and I just want to talk about that real quick, because if any Panamanians are watching, like, what did you guys think about Carrasquilla lashing out like that? Because I thought that was a clear red card for him. And I was surprised, because knowing how Carrasquilla plays, he usually is like he's a good leader on the pitch, and I think he's a captain for the Panamanian national team. I wouldn't expect him to just lash out like that and now put his team in a bad position because he won't be there for the next match. I would expect much more from him. So that surprised me as well, because the decision making there was so rash. It was so CONCACAF-y. But regardless, Panama gets the result. But still, I just think it got crazy towards the end. What's funny is that I actually didn't think that was a red card. I think it was.
You do think so?
Yeah. There's no intention on the ball there. It was straight up like some I don't know if it was hatred or what, but he swung at him like he was holding a golf club and just swung at it, but with his feet, man.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, for me, I thought it was just like a really harsh yellow, maybe at best, but it'll be a miss for Panama going into that next game. But I against Bolivia, I think it's okay.
Yeah,
I think it's okay. Carrasquilla is good for finding passes in those pockets, but if you just play, for example, Giovanni Welch in that position, or you maybe Ayarza, for example, alongside Martinez in that midfield, I think they're going to be fine, because the big points for Panama is Bárcenas, Murillo, Fajardo, for example. So Carrasquilla will be missed in a big game like today, but against Bolivia, honestly, I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, no, I think they'll be fine. And I'm curious to see how many goals they get, because goal differential could matter. If the USA ends up beating Uruguay, Panama gets a goleada on Bolivia, they might be able to overtake them regardless of that USA result. So that's an interesting narrative there as well. But look, folks, the situation that Soltero presented at the very beginning is still very real.
It's real.
It's very real. USA can go through. They can go through if they defeat Uruguay and then get some help from Bolivia. So that's why I'm not going to go off completely yet. I'm not going to go off completely, because I can see it in the chat. People want more from me, but I'm not going to give that yet, because the USA still has a very real opportunity here of pulling off an upset against Uruguay, and something that, a team that could potentially maybe play their B team now that they're qualified through to the next round. So I'm going to hold off personally. You decide to do whatever you want in the chat, but I'm going to hold off. And I'm sure you might even say a little thing or two about the USA team if they end up getting grouped in this tournament at the end of the day.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to hold off on that, because the reality is the USA still has a chance, but we're going to do a poll. Does the USA get out of this group? Do they get out of the group? I need to know where you guys stand. Do they pull off an incredible result against Uruguay? Do they make up for this disastrous performance, or do we see the USA get grouped? We're about to read the super chats. Don't you worry. We're about to read the super chats. Do they get grouped? Do they get out of the group stage? Let me know. So far, 85% saying no, but we only have 2 votes. Oh, there we go. 123 votes I saw. 86% saying no, 15% saying yes. I think I agree. I'm going no, because this Uruguay team, I am so convinced of. They look incredible. And I'm going to hold off on talking about them in depth, because I want to look at the Super Chats. Let's go over to Super Chat Nation. Let's see what the Give and Go folks are saying. We are going to read each and every one of these, because you folks are sending in the chats. And Soltero, I might need you to read some of these. Because these are directly for you.
Quiere llorar, Soltero quiere llorar. The thing is, I'm actually not mad because, like I said, at the very beginning, there's nothing to analyze football-wise from this performance. I will always stick by that idea. When you get a red card, football goes out the window, and you just got to lock in. You just got to figure it out. The USA were not able to figure it out today, and we lose the match, just like Ecuador did against Venezuela. But if you had 11v11 in both situations, you probably get a different result. But we'll never know because of really stupid decisions.
I'd be mad, though, if you got a red card that way. You're not going to be upset about that?
No, because I only analyze the game from a football perspective. What Timothy Weah did was not football.
Yeah, but it still impacts the game ultimately.
Yeah, but it's not football.
Like, it's attitudes football, mentality's football.
Yeah, but I look at the game, not stupid decisions. And what Weah did goes against the game, which therefore I'm just not about it, bro. I'm not about what Weah did.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I'm not
I don't think
about
anyone is for sure, but I do think that's a part of the game is managing your emotions. I do.
Yeah.
And I think that if you don't want to read it into that, that's fine. But I think emotions are a big part of football, and Weah let the emotions get to him.
Yeah, and it's so poor because the game isn't about. It's not about hitting people or getting aggressive or hitting people in the head. That's not what it's about. It's about passing the ball, moving it, playing, creating chances, scoring goals. And what Weah did is just anti-football.
Michael Vox says, Soltero, what happened? Were the U.S. fans who were clowning Mexico yesterday at now CONCACAF in shambles? I actually do agree with this, man, because I saw all those USA fans go off on me yesterday. I like having my moment now, and it's crazy that for CONCACAF, man, both of the top teams are in a really tough situation going into that third game. And honestly, the best team looking like the team that looks most set to get out of the group is Canada of all squads, man. Of all squads. Mm-hmm. But if you look at the preview, man, I predicted a very dark timeline for CONCACAF, so I'm not that surprised. Tony Tone says, y'all the two guys who said USA the same level as Uruguay, right? I didn't say that. I never said that. I've always said that Uruguay is the better team, and that's why I have USA getting knocked out in the group stage, in the quarterfinals, and why I had the USA in second place, not first. That is something that Soltero says, and I believe still sticks to. We will find out.
I'll still stick to it, man. I mean, I think when it's 11v11, the USA can play up to Uruguay's level. But if we're doing these rash decisions like Weah showed today, then obviously we're going to be lesser than Uruguay. I can't deny that. I can't.
Yeah, you can't. Next, you can have the next super chats, man. They're all towards you.
So, Pearl, karma's a bitch, am I right? The American entitlement you had has finally caught up. Being humble goes a long way, just saying. But again, all of my takes were considering football, right?
Yep. Yeah.
So that's why I guess it sounds like I'm being a bitch here, but I will always go 11v11 is football. Anything other isn't. But I know that sounds like I'm coping. I understand that. I understand that it sounds like I can't take the loss or whatever, but I fully take this loss. If you get a red card in the 18th minute, you are destined to lose the game. And the moment that happened, I basically disassociated because I knew we were going to get the result. There was absolutely no way you can sprint at this high level for 80 minutes trying to cover an extra whole man space and thinking you can get the win. There's absolutely no way. And I think it's a little funny that a lot of people think that 11v10 can be managed. It can, but let's be real, guys. Maybe 30 minutes max. The USA had to play down a man for 80 minutes. And again, it sounds like I'm coping. Sure, I accept the loss today. 100%. There's no excuse for Weah's decision. There's no excuse for Greg Berhalter's ultimate coaching to even allow that. And the USA lost today. And now the reality is we have to get a win against Uruguay. And that makes it so much tougher, knowing that 11v11, we would have won this game.
Yeah, I'll say as a Mexico fan, I wish this was Panama outplaying USA and beating them 2-1 and not the USA going down a man and then Panama winning 2-1, because I'd be going off like crazy if that had happened. If the USA got outplayed just straight up, oh my God, I'd be having a field day. But let's be honest.
Can I be honest?
Let's be honest, that didn't happen.
If that happened, of course I would say Panama deserved the win. Of course I would. I always try to keep unbiased opinions on this channel. If it was 11v11 and Panama balled out against the USA, that'd be the first thing I'd be saying on this channel. But I always say what I truly believe, and what I believe today is Weah made the worst decision at a Copa America, bro.
No, I'm not going to buy into the the attitude of the chat because I think people just want to clown because they lost, and I get that aspect.
I get it, bro.
I like that aspect. I like that.
Look,
keep that coming.
Trust me. I get it.
But
man.
if we're talking real football, like if we're trying to look at football, folks, let's be honest. USA went down a man. It's a different game of football.
For
I'm not
80
excusing
minutes.
I'm not excusing though, but I'm just saying I wish they had gotten outplayed. Personally, I wish they had gotten outplayed because I'd be talking so much shit right now, and I'll still talk my good fair amount of shit because ultimately they got a bad result. So let's go back to the super chats. I'm loving this. What I'm seeing in the chat. I'm loving the energy because after yesterday, I think I definitely deserve this, man, because I've been going through a lot for the past 3 years of this fucking pod, dude. I am enjoying this, and we're going to make this go 2 hours long. I don't give a fuck. Jeffrey Martinez says, bro, Soltero about to cry. Quiere llorar. Angel Mijares says, tough 2 days to be a Mexican-American. I mean,
result-wise, Jesus, man.
He's 100% right. Davey Boy says, USA had 2 big L's today, this game and the debate. I haven't seen the debate. So the producer Russ has been watching it. I haven't seen it, though. Let me know if it's been at all entertaining or what the highlights are because I didn't see a single thing. OG Queen says, fire Greg. We can't continue with him. Get BJ Callahan. He brought a style of play when he was interim. Uruguay wins 5-0. Suarez hat trick. Weah sucks fuming. I guess he's a USA fan. I guess he's a USA fan showing frustration here and asking for a coaching change. I've been asking that. I've been asking for that for a while now, man.
Yeah, if you let your players do that, you just can't. And then a really nice win for Uruguay, 5-0. Weah sucks. Yeah, I mean, I just can't believe he did that.
Yeah.
I really can't because it screwed the U.S. It screwed them.
Like I said, really, like if y'all end up getting grouped, all this is about is 2026 and hoping that this was a learning experience. That's all you can hope for.
And the frustrating part is the learning experience was supposed to be in the knockout stage.
I know.
Because like ultimately, if we lose against Uruguay, I kind of could see that happening even if we were to go on to the next round. But now that we need to win it, we won't get the full experience. So it really does suck that this ended up happening for the USA.
Yeah, no, that's my thing is that like I wanted to get my answer now so I could know because the USA is probably going to go on to win the Gold Cup and the regional tournaments we have for CONCACAF in the time in between the World Cup. And it's going to be that same question. Is the USA up to the level of the top teams in the world? We were supposed to get that answer now. Now we're going to have to wait. If they end up getting grouped, we're going to have to wait another 2 years to know where is this USA level at because of this fucking red card from Tim Weah, man. Blast says Costa Rica and Panama making it through. That'd be beautiful, man. I mean, I'm just being honest because I'm not a USA fan. Panama making it through would be an insane narrative. And Costa Rica as well. I mean, they got a tie against Brazil, which is amazing. I wonder if they can get the same results in their future matches, especially against Colombia. But it'd be insane if that's the narrative. Those CONCACAF teams going through and Mexico and USA disappointing.
Yeah, it'll be really fun to see Panama play against Bolivia. They are the better team. They should get the 3 points there, which puts them in great contention to get into the next round. Whether it's Brazil or Colombia, I think it'll be tough for Panama, but I mean, I can't believe they're in this situation. Congratulations. Yeah, man. It's huge.
OG Queen says Donald Trump was in Atlanta, put him as interim coach. He was right there by the stadium, bro. God damn, man. Enrique Camacho says Mexico's bad form has the U.S. thinking they are good. I actually somewhat do agree with that, man. I really do. When it comes to being kings of CONCACAF, I think this Mexican team is in the worst generation we've ever seen. And I think it's definitely giving the USA some false confidence, I would say, when it comes to facing off against top teams. So I agree with that. Michael Vox says, Berhalter also fucked up going defensive in the second half, in my opinion. I know you're down a man, but the USA still could have had some attack in them. That's harsh because, man,
I just think it's
being attack-minded, being down a man is crazy.
And that's why I'm so... I basically against the chat in this episode because I can't believe how much people think being down a man for 80 minutes is a fair game. I can't believe it, but maybe I'm just completely wrong and I need to go back and watch 10v11 games for a long time because I just think that's a crazy comment. Yeah, truly. I think it's a crazy comment.
I'm with you on that one.
If you're to ask a team down a man to attack, it's nuts.
That's crazy, bro. I literally do it on FIFA right now. Go down a man on FIFA and see how hard that shit is, bro. I mean, that's just a little indication. I actually agree with you on that aspect. I think the criticism here is Tim Weah and that decision making. You can criticize the coach,
and the coach
you can criticize the discipline. You can go off on that. But if you're trying to tell me that the USA should have won this game after that call, you're nuts. You're nuts because Panama's a good team too.
They're a good team,
They're good
bro.
team, man.
And they also have offensive weapons.
Yeah.
If you're trying to cover that space down a man, you're going to get stretched.
Yeah. Mexican Jesus, what a name, says USA about to get cooked by Uruguay. I foresee the same thing. Regardless, unless they play their B team. If Uruguay plays their B team, I'm interested to see what happens then. FIFA Rig says, Dest and Nauea, can you forgive it if you do it 3 times in a row? I mean, that'd be crazy, man. Three emotional reactions like that in like the past 6 months would be insane. I don't know if I can bet on that or something. Like, that would just be crazy, man. Gustavo Gutierrez says, that's why you need the Michael Jordan of soccer and not the LeBron James of soccer. Shit, bringing up a Michael Jordan, LeBron debate. I didn't know where the chat stands on that. Where do you guys stand on the go to basketball real quick? LeBron James or Michael Jordan? Because I'm a LeBron guy. We can do a poll for it. I'm a LeBron guy. Let me just check on some U.S. sports since we're talking USA. Are y'all a LeBron is the GOAT type of people, or is it Jordan? Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time. Be fun. Submit that poll for me, producer Rob, because I want to know how much basketball knowledge the chat has, because I'm sure we have a lot of USA fans in here. Please submit that. Yes, sir. Right there. We're ready to go. Let me know in the chat. Who do you prefer? While we read some more super chats, we have Alejandro Tiborcio saying AFC draw review. Sorry for the loss, Soltero, USA. Yes, we're doing the AFC draw review right after this shoot.
We're doing it. Yeah.
We haven't seen the results at all. That's actually going to be really fun.
That'll be fun.
It'll be probably the highlight of your day. We're going to do that after this. Christopher Molina says, Reynoso, I spent the day and found Hugo Weckman. What's that?
I don't know. I thought you don't know?
Hugo Weckman.
Shit.
Reynoso, I spent the day and found Hugo Weckman. Is that a joke? Am I saying something?
We'll look him up.
Hugo Weckman. Hugo Weckman. I don't know. People in the chat, meanwhile, are saying Wemby, Wembanyama, Larry Bird, Bill Russell. Let's look at the poll. Michael Jordan at 75%. So we got some old timers in here. God damn. I'm a LeBron guy. I'm going LeBron on this one, but I think it's very, very close. And Soltero, I believe you're a Kobe guy.
I'm a Kobe guy, but Michael will go LeBron.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, bet. Crazy, man. Chat's straight up Michael Jordan on this one. Let's go back to Super Chats. We have Marcos Vitela saying, USA need a coach like Tuca Ferretti for real? Tuca Ferretti? I don't know about that one, bro.
Probably the same as Berhalter, honestly.
I
mean,
don't know
it's
about that
just tough to see Tuca since he's only coached Liga MX.
Yeah, that's a crazy shout. I'm gonna be real with you. That's a crazy shout, bro. That's a crazy shout. Mike's all right says, I understand that 10 versus 11 isn't fair, but a 10-man USA squad is better and more capable than a Panamanian side. Your response?
I will always stick by. I don't care if you're Barcelona and you're playing against Granada 10v11. I think you're put at a major disadvantage. I will always stick by that. And stay tuned for the next 10 years of Give and Go, because when there is a red card and if it's in the first half, I will always be on the sympathetic side of the team that is down a man.
Luis Melo says, what's up, guys? Reporter Luis Melo is back at the stream. I'm running on 3-4 hours of sleep after driving back home for 4 or 5 hours, but ready for my next assignment. God damn, dude.
Hey, he was at the game yesterday at SoFi. It looked lit, Luis. It looked insane, man.
Luis Melo, my friend, thank you for your reporting. It's an unpaid gig, and we appreciate everything you do. And we hope to see you again once again, man. A great reporter right there. Josh Ortiz says, now, Soltero, if USA would have won even down 10 men, would that be, quote unquote, not football? That's an interesting question.
Yes, it would not be. It would not be, or it would be not football. How do I answer
You wouldn't rate the victory.
I wouldn't rate the victory.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rate it because I would just chalk it down to us getting a goal and then bunkering in and hoping for the best. So if it's always 11v10, I will always just chalk it down to whatever happens, but it's not pure football. So yes, I wouldn't rate this victory if the USA had won today. Yeah. So just to make that very clear.
Yeah. Let me support my boy Soltero. He said the same when Barca lost to PSG. Stop the Soltero hate. That's true. When Barca went down,
Barca would have won that game. Yeah. I said the same thing. I'll always keep true to that because it's how I view the game, y'all.
FIFA Rig says the debate had no answers for the U.S. Basically, that sucks, man. I was hoping maybe we could get some answers for the U.S. as a fucking country. Sounds like we won't get that. I'm down to wait 4 more fucking years then. Frankie Mendez, thank you for the super chat. Tony Tone says, Soltero, I love you, but come on, that game was fair. Balogun scored a screamer after, and Panama won on the death of the game. Please don't cope.
I'm not coping, y'all.
Please don't cope.
not coping.
Man.
This is crazy.
You, Soltero.
Look, I'm emotional. Maybe that's throwing people off. I'm going to be emotional for the national team that I support. But 11v10 for 80 minutes is just different. It is different than a normal game of football. We lost this game fair. I'm not saying there's controversy, by the way. No, there is zero controversy in this loss. The USA lost fair and square. But was this an even match on the pitch? No, we were down a man for 80 minutes.
It's not that we are saying it's fair. The thing is that it doesn't matter. It's all part of the game.
Exactly. And that's how I started this whole stream, is that the reality is USA only have 3 points after 2 games. We got to get a win in the next match. And I understand that fully.
Yeah. We have Kevin Rosa saying after both games, who wins? Panama versus Venezuela. 2 surprise teams of the tournament. I'm going to go with Venezuela on this one, man. I'm going to go Venezuela because Panama got killed by Uruguay and then they needed that red card to ultimately defeat USA, whereas Venezuela took down Mexico and then in a similar way to Panama won a game down a man. They're both very even.
They're both very even.
But I think I trust the Venezuelan defense more than I trust Panama's defense.
That is my exact take. I think Venezuela's defense is a little tighter, and then they still have players going forward. I think that could hurt you, like Rondon, for example, Soltero, and then Yángel Herrera on the midfield. So I would go Venezuela, but honestly, that'd be a banger of a game.
11 versus 10. Y'all acting like you guys can play Sunday League with uneven players and act like it's nothing. This is international football.
That's what I'm saying, bro.
This is international football.
And Panama are a good team.
Yes, sir.
Let's not get that wrong.
We have a few more super chats before we go over to the Uruguay-Bolivia match, which there isn't much to be said about. But I think we got them. I'll scroll all the way down for me. Let me just make sure. Go all the way down for me, producer. Right, all the way down. Right, we got them. Let's go over to Uruguay-Bolivia, where Uruguay won 5-0. And if you want to talk about short analysis, I think this one might be even shorter, bro. This one might be even shorter with all of us basically on this crew and also in the chat saying that Uruguay would win this game by 3, by 4, by 5 goals. And they actually pull it off. 5 goals from Pellistri, Núñez, Araujo, Valverde, and Bentancur. Different scores for every single goal. And Bolivia is now on a -7 goal differential with 0 points at this tournament. Uruguay kills the Bolivians and qualify through into the next round with 6 points. Uruguay is just looking incredible. And honestly, all I can really say is a continuation of what I saw in that match against Panama, which is that Uruguay is very good offensively. They have a great defense. I think this is one of the contenders of the tournament. There really weren't any new takeaways here, man, honestly, because this was expected and they delivered fully.
Yeah, Bolivia are the worst team at this tournament, I think. And I think that's very fair to say. Uruguay did exactly what they did against Panama. They just did it against a weaker team. So really good for Uruguay. I hope they play their A team against the USA. That way they can get good practice against whether it be Colombia or Brazil going in that quarterfinals. The USA will be a really good test for Uruguay. I see that game still as 50-50 even after this USA result. For Uruguay, though, I mean, they're looking as fluid as ever, and I'm excited to see what they can do. It's going to be a banger, though. USA-Uruguay. It's going to be an absolute banger.
And no, for you, bro, and for the channel and everything that I'm seeing in the chat, because I agree with you on basically everything you said, I would love to see what the chat's reaction is if Uruguay finds a way to get out of the group. No, USA finds a way to get out of the group and they defeat Uruguay. What does the chat say then? What does the chat say then? Because if USA gets that victory when it's needed most for them, when the pressure is on and they go through and we get that opportunity to see the USA in a quarterfinal matchup at the Copa America, I want to see what the chat says. Because right now, I understand. I understand why the chat is being the way they are.
No one's going to agree with the take. I completely get it. Like I said, I'm a sponge this episode. But say exactly what you want to say, but I truly do believe it's going to be 50-50
No, yeah,
match.
and it's very similar to my Mexico thing, man. I got shitted on yesterday for the Mexico game, but the reality is we beat Ecuador. We're in, bro, basically.
Yeah.
And so I'm with you, bro.
And it's very possible that Mexico beat Ecuador.
So I'm just saying, man, I want to see how the chat reacts in both USA and Mexico. If they do pull off incredible results in that third game, and once again, the chat is looking much different. The situation is looking much different. I want to see because I do think it's been very reactionary tonight, and they're getting the shit off, and I've been enjoying every second of it. But let's be honest. Let's see what happens. If they end up being right, then double down on it. If Uruguay beats USA, double down on it, man. Completely. Especially if it's Uruguay's A- B team, for example. Go off then. If Uruguay beats the USA, then ultimately that gives us that answer because we know for sure USA is going to be playing their best squad available. And same with Mexico, man. Mexico's going to have to go for the victory. Exactly. If they don't deliver, let's go off. Let's do it. Let's do it. I'm down. But I just don't want to get ahead of ourselves because people are acting like both teams are eliminated.
It's pretty crazy,
and that's why I got so defensive yesterday because I was like, they really aren't, bro. It's still not over. It's 3 games. It's 3 games. So that's all I'll say. But for now, enjoy your moment. That's all I'm saying. Uruguay beats Bolivia 5-0. Let's just preview tomorrow's matches, man. Let's preview tomorrow's matches with Costa Rica and Colombia playing and Paraguay facing off against Brazil. We'll do Colombia versus Costa Rica. Costa Ricans in the chat. Anybody who supports this Costa Rican side, let me know. Do you see Costa Rica pulling off another incredible result? Do you see it happening? Or Colombians? If we got Colombians in the chat, what's going to happen? Do we see Colombia ball out once again and actually break this Costa Rican defense in a way that Brazil couldn't? I think that's what's going to happen.
I think so. I mean, Colombia look incredible. Their run that they're on is absolutely insane. And I think even another defensive masterclass from Costa Rica will end in a loss for them. Colombia is just too hot right now.
Colombia's too hot.
They're too hot.
They have something that Brazil doesn't have, and that's chemistry. That is chemistry. And that's ultimately what's going to break this Costa Rican defense because Costa Rica really banked on Brazil being questionable up front, not really knowing how to like pass the ball to each other and knowing what to do. Like I saw so many confused Brazilians when they face off against Costa Rica. With Colombia, every player has a role. Every player knows what to do on and off the ball. I think Colombia will find a way to break this Costa Rican defense and get the victory. So I have Colombia winning, and so does the chat at 80%. Colombia winning at 80%, Costa Rica at 13%, a draw at 7%. I agree. Last match of the day is Paraguay facing off against Brazil. Let's talk about it because everything that has to do with the Brazilian team is so dramatic. It's like looking at the tabloids right now with how much drama is around this Brazilian team, especially after drawing Costa Rica 0-0. Was Ronaldinho right? We'll get our full answer here because Brazil needs to win this matchup versus a Paraguayan team who just lost to Colombia 2-1. Does Paraguay pull off another incredible result against Brazil, or does Brazil finally wake up in this tournament and defeat a side that they ultimately should be defeating?
Yeah, I mean, I think Brazil win this game, but Paraguay have something to show. They kind of showed flashes of that against Colombia in that second half. But overall, Brazil have to respond, and I do see them doing that. There's just too much talent offensively. They don't have the best chemistry right now, but overall, maybe we see more minutes from Endrick, and I do see Brazil getting off to a hot start, but finally against Paraguay.
They have to, man.
They have to.
If they don't do it here, man, oh my God, man. Brazil has to rise for the good of football, man. No way our biggest entertainers are going down like that, says Chris Vergara. I agree. But Sensei Diego says Brazil have no passion and chemistry. Ronaldinho was right. We got to get an answer. We got to get an answer because I do think both of those things are true. I really do. And Paraguay is a team that they should be beating. So we need to see that happen. Yeah. Let's look at some final super chats here. More things regarding the U.S. men's national team. So let's talk about it. We have FIFA Rick saying, as Argentines know, Bielsa will not go soft for USA. That could be true because, bro, he didn't start. He's been starting A teams since the friendlies. Against Mexico, started his best squad, bro.
That's true.
He might not hold back.
Brought the best players that he could at the time and still played them. So I'm hoping that because I want the USA to win the match against the Uruguay's best because that'll be the only way we can prove to ourselves that we're good. And then if we somehow get through, then it'll be the perfect warm-up for the quarterfinal game.
No, that's true. I like that. Christopher Molina says, search up Hugo Weckman in Transfer Market. Bro,
we got to look him up.
Get in the Transfer Market right now, bro. I'm hosting a fucking stream, dude. Jesus, man. Gilberto Godinez says, Mexico and U.S. switch groups. Who would do better? Okay, let me think about that. Mexico is going to struggle even more in a group with Uruguay and Panama, in my opinion. And then USA in a group with Ecuador, Venezuela, and Jamaica, I think, does well. I think it's that simple.
I think it would be... I think the USA would do fine in both groups.
Yeah.
I think the USA would do fine in both groups. I think that Mexico would, let's say, quote-unquote, struggle in both groups. Mexico would beat Bolivia, though. Let's be honest.
Yeah, we'd beat them.
Mexico would beat Bolivia.
We would struggle more against Panama and Uruguay, I think.
Yeah.
I think we'd struggle more. Mateo Pegasus with a wholesome take here. It takes a lot to beat this USA team. It took one less man to beat the USA. We got an idea of what it takes to beat this team.
Yeah, I mean, also I saw a lot of other people saying in the chat that this is the second time Panama beat the USA, but let's also remember in the Gold Cup, it was Panama's A team against USA's clear B team. Right?
Yeah,
so
man, that one's different.
Let's understand what it has taken for Panama to actually beat the USA.
Panamanians talking their shit, then, huh?
They can, but let's also we gotta take context into account.
They talk Mexico. Michael talks football. Says, "What the fuck did I wake up to?" Greg surely won't survive this if the USA get grouped. I agree, man. We mentioned it, like even a quarterfinals matchup, we were like, maybe he gets out, but getting grouped, same treatment as Jimmy Lozano.
He has to have the same treatment. He has to. If the USA do not beat Uruguay in their next match, Greg has to be out. There's absolutely no excuse, no response other than Greg gets fired. It has to be. If you can't keep your players in check in this game and you lose against Uruguay, knowing that you didn't have the right tactics to beat this team, then Greg's not it. So I want Greg out if they get grouped. I completely agree.
Edri Nava says, Uruguay, please show mercy. Guys, let's do a poll. One last poll here. I want to know your final thoughts. Predict the result of Uruguay, USA. Not so much. I mean, you can predict the actual result in the comments, but we're going to do a poll here of who wins, Uruguay, USA, or is it a draw? And you can make whatever assumption you want. And that's either Uruguay starting their A team, starting their B team, starting their C team. Please let me know. Let me get your final thoughts on our way out. What do you think happens here between the USA and Uruguay? This is the biggest matchup for the USA in the past 4 years as they build to what was supposed to be a strong Copa America and a 2026 World Cup hosted in their own land. I see Emer Guevara saying 3-1 USA. I'm seeing another 3-1. 100-1 says Juan Diaz. 2-0 Uruguay with one man down. 3-1 says Eric. Yeah, for real, that'd be crazy. Once again, not getting a clear indication on the team if they end up Uruguay ends up going down 1-0. USA wins 2-1 in a freak game. 2-0 Uruguay, 1-1. I mean, I think we might see a draw. Man. For Uruguay gets his bald head fraud. I just think Uruguay gets a goal, man. I just don't see.
Absolutely. No, Uruguay's offense way too good. They're gonna get a goal for the USA to beat Uruguay. We're gonna have to outscore them.
Yes.
I say best chance USA wins 2-1. That's 2-1. Best chance. 2-1. But realistically, I had this game ending in a draw.
Yeah. The result is Uruguay 81%, USA at 16%, a draw at 3%. Guys, what a stream. We need to log off because we're about to talk about the Asian World Cup qualifier that just happened. So, guys, thank you for watching. What a stream. And like I mentioned, the USA is not eliminated. They are not eliminated, and neither is Mexico. So we will be back once again for those post-game reactions once it's solidified, once it's put in the dirt. The USA being eliminated or Mexico being eliminated, or perhaps surprising everybody and winning and progressing into the next round. We'll be back for all those live streams because it's about to get even crazier than what it was today. We will catch you guys next time, and please be kind to any USA fans out there. They need it today.